here. I'm live here. I'm live everywhere. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Roman Shersher with your buy, invest, sell update. This spring housing market was supposed to be the best in years. More inventory, the rates had started to ease, buyer leverage, and then a war changed everything, literally overnight. This is the fastest 12 minutes in real estate. Roman Shersher with your buy, invest, sell update. Today we're going to cover how the Iran war is killing the spring market, why buying a house with friends just became a real strategy for those that have affordability crisis, why Jacksonville just hit the #1 for first-time home buyers, and your updated rate table for the week. Let's go! All right. To start off, we're going to go into our neighborhood spotlight with the lovely Liana. She is my co-host, my partner in life, and in real estate. Liana, what's happening in Porter Ranch?
Porter Ranch is our neighborhood spotlight for today. I always like to give a quick history fact about where the city gets its name and where it came from. So the name comes from the Porter family, who owned a massive portion of that land here in the early 1900s. Before that, the area was part of a bunch of Spanish land grants and later used for agriculture and ranching. And what's really interesting is that much of Porter Ranch remained undeveloped for decades, which is why today you see it's very new construction feel, new planned communities there. It's one of the few areas in LA where you're getting that, new construction feel on a large scale.
Yeah. Lots of gated communities up there with beautiful brand new homes.
Yeah, it definitely feels a lot newer than other parts of the valley. And getting into the fun stuff, the food, and also I want to touch on the schools. The public schools in Porter Ranch, like Castle Bay Lane Elementary, Granada Hills Charter, rated some of the top public schools in the state. So that drives a lot of families to be moving over there and the demand for that area in Porter Ranch. Now for the food. So the vineyards at Porter Ranch, the dining scene is finally catching up over there. You have Alfred Coffee. That's a big name, a big addition there to LA coffee culture, very aesthetic. So definitely a everyday go-to spot. Could be for a lot of you out there. Just opened a brand new Italian coastal restaurant called Selina. It literally just opened last weekend. Perfect for date nights, fresh pizza and pasta. Who doesn't love a good Italian spot for celebrations or just a nice date night? And then we have La Popular, CDMX. There's a couple of locations throughout LA. It's a contemporary Mexican upscale restaurant, bold flavors from Mexico City. Everything that I look for as a chef, a variety and quality. So definitely a great scene out there. Check it out. Porter Ranch, great for families, schools, a lot of great real estate and new construction. So check it out. It's nice to see you.
Really cool vibe. Great area. And, it has everything you need. It has more, it has everything from a big Walmart to your upscale Whole Foods. And I think Air One is even going in there. So you have the whole spectrum. It's so much newer than just its neighbors, Granada Hills, Sylmar, Reseda, which is just to the south of it. Really great area. All right, let's get into the content. We got a lot to go over. Great stuff. And like I mentioned, the Iran war has really put a cooler on what was supposed to be a very, very hot spring market. Let's take a look at what we're talking about here. All right. Beautiful. All right. This spring market was supposed to be the best in years. Okay, we got more inventory, easing rates, we had buyer leverage. Then the Iran war hit. The 30-year fixed was at 5.99% the day before Iran started, and it got up to 6.5. Right now, we're hovering between 6.39 and 6.45. That half a point jump wiped out months of affordability gains in days. Now, sellers are feeling it too. Buyers, 90% of agents say affordability is now forcing buyers out of the market. And sellers are feeling it too. 37% of the agents say time on market is now the main concern for sellers. And it is because more than half of the agents complain that they had at least one contract cancellation in the first quarter. So at least one of their closings fell through in the first quarter. And that, of course, leads to longer days on market. Now, the only relief is that rates dropped for the first time since the war started this last week. 6.37% this week, down from 6.46 and change last week. The 2-week Iran ceasefire announcement triggered this little improvement, but the economists are warning that it may be short-lived. So, look, the war didn't create this affordability problem, but it did pour gasoline on it. Rates were below 6%. People were starting to feel comfortable. We had a lot of buyers coming out and say, okay, let's jump in. Let's start looking again. Okay, and then the window closed fast. Inventory is still at a 10-year high, but I'm going to tell you this. If you're a buyer staying in the game right now, it's your last window. Once these rates fall below 6%, there's going to be a lot of activity. And what do you think we're going to be able to do for you when there's going to be 3 or 4 other offers on the table, as opposed to right now, hey, you're the only offer we're playing with, and I can really max out all of the incentives and the bonuses that we get for you. It's a big deal. So like they say, marry the house, date the rate. Not only are you able to date the rate, but I could even buy that rate down for you. And we're getting that done successfully on a lot of our buyers. All right, this has gotten really hot because of affordability reasons, and so I wanted to cover it in a little bit in detail. Co-buying a house with friends. It's now a real strategy. Your best friend might be your ticket to buying a house in this market. 60% of renters are already considering it. The math works. You got 2 incomes, one mortgage, but there's ways to do it correctly, and I'll go into it in a moment. The main reason why this is important right now is that the median age of first-time buyers just hit a record of 40 years old. Back when our parents were homeowners, okay, and in our parents' time, that median age was low 30s. Now it's 40 years old is the median age of the person that buys their home for the first time. And so this affordability crunch, people are waiting, and people are tired of waiting, and so they're not doing it alone. Now, according to a survey, 60% of renters are now open to doing it with friends, co-buying. Affordability is the number one reason why. 64% of them say that's the reason. So here's how it works. All right. Different lenders allow multiple co-borrowers. Fannie Mae allows up to 4 co-borrowers. Freddie Mac allows 5 co-borrowers. FHA, VA, and USDA have no co-borrower cap. So each person's on the mortgage and on the title. Income from all of the borrowers counts. And that's the main reason you would do it, which expands the loan you qualify for, and it expands the debt that you guys can accumulate, which makes it easier to buy. If one person could buy a home for $500,000, you have the same income, together you can buy $1 million home. Now, there's 2 key legal structures that you want to do this with. Either as you buy the home as joint tenants or in joint tenancy. This is equal ownership. If one owner dies, their share passes to the others. Okay. And the second way is tenancy in common. Okay. What this means is that ownership percentages match your financial contributions. Let's say one of the person can put 70% down. The other person can only afford to put 30% down and is okay only 30% and making 30% of the mortgage payment. This is how you would do it. You would do it in tenancy in common. And they'll match your financial contributions. Now, you need a written co-ownership agreement that covers expenses, your exit strategy, and what happens if one party wants out, okay? And in general, you would want to do this anyway. Always put your agreements with your friends in writing. It actually secures your friendship. makes it stronger. Okay. Now, the risk that nobody talks about is, look, if one co-borrower, one of the buyers, let's say they lose their job and they have to miss a payment, the other one has to come in and help, because you miss a payment, one person misses a payment, it hurts everyone's credit. Okay, you have to make the payments in full every single month. So every borrower is legally liable for the full mortgage, not just their share. And definitely discuss exit strategy before you're closing, not after. All right, great way to buy in today's market. All right, let's talk about Jacksonville. So Jacksonville just ranked number one. Just ranked number one U.S. market for the first time, for first-time home buyers. Okay, so first-time home buyers, this is the best market for you. Now, this market is doing very well, and I'll go into that in for a second. But among the 50 largest U.S. metros for the first-time home buyers, Zillow just ranked Jacksonville number one based on rent affordability, share of homes within reach for medium-income buyers, competition level, and share of residents in prime buying years. 48% of the median income households in Jacksonville can afford to buy there. So nearly half of the people can afford the median price home in Jacksonville. That is significantly different. Nationwide, that benchmark is about 30%. In LA, it's 15 to 17%. Only 15 to 17% of the people that live in Los Angeles Metro can afford to buy a home in Los Angeles Metro. In Jacksonville, that's significantly better. Now, it's a really good market right now. Jacksonville closed 1847 single-family homes in March. That's up 22.6% from February. This market is accelerating into the spring. Their days on market fell 20% to just 40 days in March. And median sale price is $395,000 in March. So very affordable market. Let's take a look at where our mortgage rates are. So like I mentioned to you, the mortgage rates fell this week for the first time. And so we're looking at mortgage rates that are very affordable in comparison to last week. Last week, when I did the update, we were at 6.45. We're now 6.39. Still not very affordable, actually. 5.99 right before the war was much more, which was much better. A lot of momentum that was rushing into the spring that got sidelined. The 15-year fixed went from 6.02 to 5.99, down 3 basis points. 30-year jumbo went from 6.6 to 6.55, down 5 basis points. And the 30-year FHA 5.91 stayed, as well as the VA did not move at all. And the 7-year ARM went from 6.05 to 6.02. So got a little bit more favorable. This is the first decline since the Iran war began. And so we'll see if this can be sustainable and if this can move into the next week. And we'll see if this 2-week ceasefire actually ends up working out into a deal, in which case we should hopefully see rates trickle down below 6% like they were right beforehand. The main thing is this. If you're a buyer in this market, you're in, here, let me stop sharing the screen. There we go. All right. If you're a buyer in this market, you're in a really good time. We are having some great incentives right now that our buyers are taking advantage of. Okay. Co-buying is now a legitimate strategy. So if you get together with a friend right now, you can still take advantage of this market. FHA and VA loans are holding up better than conventional. If you're eligible, your rate premium versus conventional has narrowed. Run the comparison. Talk to your mortgage person. If you can get an FHA loan right now, it's a really good way to go. And just be ready. The buyers who transact in this dip will look really good in 6 months. I give you my word. All right. And as far as sellers, if you're a seller, 37% of agents say the time on market is a top concern. So the main thing you got to do is price it right. Okay. The adage from a couple of years ago, I'm going to list it high and drop. That strategy is costing sellers weeks of carrying costs and price drops, and you end up with a lower final number because when buyers see a high day on market, they smell blood in the water. Okay. Expect some contract cancellations, especially if you overprice. But if you are going to sell, offer the rate buy downs proactively. At least put it as an option. Let buyers know that you're receptive to negotiating that in. It keeps buyers in the deal, and make sure you have a clean, well-presented home. You're going up against some stiff competition right now that needs to sell, and so some of them are really dropping their pants and coming out with really low prices. In order to compete, your house has to at least look wonderful, fantastic. So definitely look great in this market. All right, quote of the day, Albert Einstein. In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. How it applies here, right now the housing market has real difficulty baked into it. War-driven rate spikes, buyer hesitation, canceled contracts. That same difficulty is creating great opportunity. Okay, we have record inventory, real negotiating power, less competition for buyers who stay disciplined. The buyers and investors who act clearly during uncertainty. Okay, if you know what you're doing, if you're acting clearly during this uncertainty, you're going to outperform those who wait for perfect conditions. The perfect conditions aren't going to come, and when they do, and it's a perfect condition for you because rates and this and that and the payment and you like it and is great, you're going to go up against 5 other contracts and you're going to pay $50,000 more for this house. I'm experienced. This just happened to us 2 years ago. There was a lot of buyers. Prices were going $100,000, $200,000 above list price. Why? Because people knew rate drops were going to be there, and there's a consensus, a market consensus as to what's happening with rates. People want to be comfortable with their payments. Well, I'm telling you right now, get uncomfortable for a little while. You'll be comfortable for the long term. Opportunity comes dressed in difficulty. All right. If you got value from today's update, please hit the subscribe and tap the bell. New video every Friday. It's free and it takes 2 seconds. Please, guys, share this video. Tap the share button with your friends and family. It really costs you nothing. It genuinely helps us tremendously. Really appreciate it. And also, if you are looking at Instagram, head over to YouTube or Facebook, where we have the full rate table, the links and the slides, links to the articles and the slides. Now, lastly, I'm going to tell you, I've bought hundreds of homes at this point across the country. I put the best tips into a free guide, a book that I wrote. DM me the word guide, and I'll send it to you directly free. Just let me know if it was useful to you at all. That's all I ask, okay? Drop a comment, buyer, seller, or investor. Where are you right now? What are you doing? I read every single one. I comment on every single one. This is Roman Shersher, your #1 online resource for buying property, saying have a great weekend. Over and out.